Yes.
And like we already said before, the conversation today is revolving around masculinity and mental health, facts and myths surrounding that. Talking about our men, their mental health, what is expected of them, masculinity, what it entails, and so much more. And to help us today, we're talking about, we have our studios and guests. So Mudupe, would you do
Definitely. We have Dr. Charles Nwachukwu, who is a medical practitioner. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And we have Dr. George Uchendu, who is a medical doctor and likes to be called the Talk Doctor.
A pleasure to be here.
Yes,
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Okay, so earlier in the show, we talked about, I was telling her about a story where I saw a man that was being beaten by a woman. And no one went out to say, okay, what's wrong? Why are you hitting him? It is wrong. As to when it's a man that is beating a woman. So I'm like, why is it that way? Is it because of the notion that, okay, it's a man is a man, and then there's so much pressure on the man, he needs to learn how to control himself, how to take things in. And that will take me into asking, what exactly is masculinity? Do we have the wrong notion? Do we have the wrong idea? What exactly is masculinity? Let me start from you.
All right. I think masculinity is the expression of, I say physical expression of the traits that make you a male. You know, like your appearance, your behavior, your physical body build. So like those traits that would readily distinguish you from the female.
So it's physical.
Physical.
It's more like physical.
Okay. Okay, it's physical and otherwise.
Yeah, it's more physical.
Okay, so what are the traits of masculinity?
Okay, so as my colleague has said, there's the physical side, and we also have the behavioral or psychological side. So I think for me, more importantly, look at the psychological and behavioral traits where we have courage, assertiveness, leadership, striving to be the head. Let me put it that way. So these are normal masculine traits that sets us apart as men from women.
Okay.
So basically, when more is added, that we have the angle toxic masculinity. When we now start looking at the man has to now do some other things, that is where we have a problem. But in its own, masculinity is not a problem because these are traits that makes us who we are, and it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, I think that should take us into toxic masculinity. What exactly is toxic masculinity?
So toxic masculinity really is a situation where there are manifestation of traits that, in one hand, is used to, you try to suppress traits that would put you across as a female, and you try to enhance traits that will put you across as a male, just trying to encourage dominance. So the man has to do things that makes him the dominant person. So the man has to not cry. The man has to be the one, when others are crying, is the one that would offer the back of support.
Even when he's emotionally down too.
Exactly. So the man has to be the one chasing for money and success and achievement. The man has to be a lot of things. The man has to be able to take things, and you just talked about a story where a man, so the man should be able to take in the beating and not even raise his hand, on the woman. So all these pressures and all these pressures are what form what we call toxic masculinity.
Do you have something to add to that?
Yeah, it's just like what he said. Is in general terms, especially what the society expects from the man. There are some things that a man is not expected to do. Like crying is the commonest. Yeah, just like you said. So, and then the beating thing that you talked about. The fact that you're a man doesn't mean, like, our internal organs don't respect the gender differences. Do you understand? So, like, the way you feel, the emotions and the hormones that run through, there are some hormones that are not gender specific. Those ones that has to do with the anger and emotions and all that. So, like, the way you react sometimes might also be exactly the same way a female will react. So it's just because of the way the society has placed it that men shouldn't respond to this, shouldn't react to this. But in the actual sense, there shouldn't be a difference.
That phrase, you're a man, be a man, how does it affect the man's mental health?
Or would it be right to say toxic masculinity?
You could say that. The whole notion of you're a man, be a man is not absolutely correct.
Okay.
I think that's what got us to where we are today. And then that's also the reason why we have more men who are facing mental illnesses. You understand? But the statistics show that more men suffer mental illnesses than women.
Okay.
And they are less likely to seek for help because of that notion. Okay? So most times when people have mental illnesses, they go to psychotherapists and they ask for help. So most men might think that seeking for those help might mean they are not man enough. Did you understand? So,
Yes, it's a thing, even in Nigeria here.
Exactly.
yeah.
Okay. Do you have something
Jumping on what he has
Yeah.
said, the statistics are clear. It's more likely for women to seek mental health services than men.
Than men.
That is one. Two is also Sigmund Freud is the father of psychoanalysis.
Yes.
Says that we repress what we are ashamed of. So we bury that which we are ashamed of, and that typically applies to men because of what the society expects from us. The things that should be normal, our emotions, our problems, our issues, we bury them because putting them out there will make us ashamed, and that would mean that we would not seek the help that we need. And I love women for one thing, is the fact that they do this community.
Yeah.
So you women have a community,
support system,
a
so to
support
say.
system.
Yes.
You all are going through issues, and from time to time you all come together as friends
talk
or as
about
colleagues
it.
and just rant
Okay.
and just put it out there. That alone helps.
There's a line between masculinity and toxic masculinity.
Exactly.
So please draw that line. Where does it begin to become toxic masculinity?
Where it begins to become toxic masculinity, remember we said masculinity are the normal. There are normal traits you expect from a man,
yes.
even as a woman, that you expect. Now the thin line therein is when, apart from showing his normal traits, the man is not expected to bring out his emotions.
Okay.
I think the part of repressing your emotions is the part that tilts it into toxic masculinity. Because if you remember on social media, there was the Me Too movement that trended really well, and there's been a lot of issues about sexual assault and the like. So when the point where a man goes through something and is not putting it out there is the point where it ceases to be
toxic.
Just masculinity. It becomes toxic masculinity.
Did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. For you to go through something and then when you're supposed to seek for help and you don't do that and you feel it's wrong for you to do that and you feel it doesn't make you a man to do that, that's toxic masculinity. You know, it's okay. You know, one of my friends shared with me that there's a hospital, she's in the UK, so that this hospital have a screening room, sorry. So yeah, because they care about people's mental health and they are sensitive to that. So like the ranting thing. So like when you feel that you need to express yourself, you need to let it out. So that room has a soundproof. So you just come in there, you cry, you scream, and you do whatever you do. You let it out and then you come out.
Okay.
So men go there, women go there. But if you set up that kind of thing in Nigeria here, with our culture and the society, I think you find more women there.
Going there. So how can we help men, erase that culture of silence? How can we help them to start speaking up? How?
There needs to be more discussions about this, first and foremost. There needs to be more awareness via media, via social media. People need to begin to talk about it. And I think a lot of times, when the Me Too trended and the likes, it was because someone came out to talk about, and then you found out that a lot of people also came out to talk. So there needs to be that, we need to start talking about it. I also think that the women should help matters because we have a lot of women that I cry and they say, you are crying.
Yes.
Actually coming to that.
Women, not even men.
So you're a man, why are you crying?
I'm a man. So you will cry, me too, I will cry. All those very, very funny. So women also need to help matters. And also I think that we the men need to, I feel like the new breed of men. Let me use your word, getting in touch with your feminine side. But I think we need to do more talking, and please, when men want to talk, because this country is really hard. I realize that a lot of men want to talk, but do we even have people that are willing to listen? That It's not just about, yes, men should come out and talk, but do we have people that are willing to listen without judging? It's the same thing we have with a lot of mental issues or physical illness issues.
So it's two things now. It's talking, who will listen, without judging.
Without judging. Because the flip side to it is when a man doesn't come out to talk, when the culture of silence is perpetuated, it would mean that men have a lot of ways, we divert the issues. So either addiction, substance abuse, drinking, transferred anger
aggression
to our loved ones, even using, I don't know, sex as a diversion tool. That is what we men do.
Okay, so Dr. Charles, please.
Yeah.
What are the effects of bottling up your emotions? Bottling up your emotions, denying them, because sometimes people face their emotions but then hold it back in. But sometimes they deny it totally. So what are the effects of denying your emotions, hiding them, and bottling up your emotions on mental health, that is?
All right. You know that before those emotions come up, there has to be an underlying condition. Maybe unemployment, relationship or marriage issues, financial hardship, or whatever it is. Those ones are stressors already. They are stressing you. And then now your emotions are built up and you're in the condition where you are and you're bottling it up and you're not trying to like express or let it out. You know, when you cry, there are hormones that help relax the body that are secreted when you cry. When you're bottling it up, you don't cry. Those relaxing hormones, they don't get secreted. Don't forget that the primary stressors are still there. Now, you trying to bottle up your emotions, you're trying to, like, you know, suppress the need to talk to someone or to seek for help. That's like adding an additional stress.
Okay.
Stress is a threat to your mental health. I think that's just the summary of, because like whatever causes you stress, because if you check all the things that causes mental illnesses, in one way or the other would have caused stress to you. So you have the primary stressors, and then you trying to bottle up your emotions, you're causing a secondary stress.
Okay, so like what kind of mental problems could you face out here eventually when these stresses have come?
Well, you could face depression, you could face anxiety, you could face addiction, like you said, because that's very typical of men. Instead of them to go out, you know, to seek for help, they try to use those other, you know, methods to take care of their problems. They say, when I drink or smoke and all that, I'm going to forget my problems. But by the time the effect of those substances wear out, you're back to the problem and the stress continues. So it's like a cycle and you're revolving around it. So you could have that. You could also have post-stress traumatic disorder. Or post-traumatic stress disorder. Because, you know, the thing about this is for getting help and a way around this has to start with you first, and then the society and your environment. If at the end of the day, you're not the type that likes to go out to talk or that likes to seek help, and then secondly, your environment is not helping at all, then it becomes a problem. You could have different kinds of mental illness. You could have schizophrenia. When people start acting violent and all that, all that could happen. Because like, we can't control what goes on in the brain. So those activities, everything we do, they are being controlled by the brain. And it's only when it's functioning properly that you can know that this is what I'm supposed to do, this is right. If there's a misfiring or if there's an abnormal activity in the brain, whatever results from it that you manifest in real life, most times you can't control it. And these stressors are, you know, because, and then just to, you know, hint this, I think this whole masculine side and feminine side, I think we should stop using those terminologies.
Okay. So what should we use instead?
No, like, let us be human. Let us be human. Let's do whatever we have to do according to the prevailing situation at the time. So let's not say, oh, let me use my masculine side or let me use my feminine side. We're talking about gender equality, are we not?
Right,
Yeah, so
we're talking about being a human being,
being a human
what you
being,
feel and expressing it.
Everybody can do anything.
Okay, so before I ask you what your contribution is, we have God's Time, David. Hello, God's Time.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
We have so many ladies coming this way.
So I think I am more interested in this topic because a lot of men have felt that it is not okay to cry, it is not okay to express emotions. From what the guests have said, I think it starts from you. He just mentioned that it starts from the individual. You have to come to the realization that it's okay to express how you feel. It's okay to cry as a man. I see parents tell their kids that, no, don't cry, you're not a woman. It annoys me because I think that's why most men die these days more than women, because they bottle up lots of emotions. So, this is a great topic. I'm sure that men would watch this show and know that it's okay to express their feelings.
Thank
you, God's
Thank
time.
you, God's time.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, now let's go to your contribution.
So I do not exactly think that
Okay.
we should completely
Lose
put
Take out
aside the
Masculinity and...
because as I said earlier, there's actually no problem with those words because in itself you're female and there are things that are just natural
Peculiar.
to you, peculiar to you. And I am male. There are things that, but when those words are now used in
an extreme way,
an extreme way to suppress emotions,
Okay.
that is where the problem is. So yes, I'm a man, but when you now start saying man up, be a man, why are you doing like a sissy? Those are transcending the terms into something that shouldn't be.
how does toxic masculinity and the whole masculinity scenario affect the way you treat others? I'm talking about toxic masculinity, bottling up emotions, denying your emotions, the whole package. How does it affect how you treat others?
Your interpersonal relationship with people.
Because, you know, sometimes we see that, like you've already rightly said, that sometimes men turn to sex, men turn to drugs and other things, and sometimes they transfer aggression to other people. So how does it affect the way you treat people, be it your spouse, your friends, or just people generally?
Okay, I think that first and foremost, it makes men act who they are not.
Okay.
Because toxic masculinity in its sense is you acting what you are not. So you have a particular persona, but then because you're trying to fit in
Try to conform.
and try to conform to standards, you now put yourself out in another way. So the man to his friends, male or female, would want to be domineering.
Okay.
Even if in his real self he is not exactly that kind of way. But in relationship with people, he will want to be domineering. He will want to stand as the one, as the tree of support.
Okay.
To his family, he will want to always be the go-to person. He would always want to take on pressure, take on the challenges. So the children have issues, come to daddy. Mommy has issues, come to daddy. To his spouse, even when he's going through problems, we see a lot of men, they're unemployed, they're going through issues, and they can't talk to their wives. Or their wives. And then the wife doesn't even know. They're in a marriage, and then the woman for 10, 15 years doesn't know that this man was going through
Depression.
issues.
There are some hormones that are not gender specific. Those ones that has to do with the anger and emotions and all that. So